Steve Curran, I'm rather confused. You're very much aligned, you've said, with John Major's vision of a grammar school in every town, but you've also been on radio and TV recently saying you do not advocate a return to full grammar school provision. Which is it, Stephen?
I don't advocate a full grammar school return because I don't think that's practical. And I also think that there are issues with, once we have a full grammar school system, it stratifies people into success or not success, because the old system was secondary modern schools. Now what we would have is the comprehensive system and other forms of schooling, academies,
do
etc.
you believe in a grammar school in every town or not? I'm sorry, I'm confused by your pitch.
I do believe in a grammar school in every town because I believe that children can, those who are academically able, very, that way orientated, if there's a grammar school in every town, then you would have poorer children being able to access them more easily. Socially deprived children.
It's a horrible word, this, but do you support the forced grammarisation of schools in areas in the country?
No, I think probably what would happen is, new schools would be set up. There are at the moment free schools, so if they were given opportunities to become selective, providing it was a controlled situation, there wouldn't be a full grammar return. I wouldn't advocate that. I mean, this is popular with parents. Let me say this.
Well, where's your evidence for that?
National Grammar Schools Association conducted research, and 70% of people are in favour of grammar school return, the return of grammar schools.
But isn't it a persistent problem with grammars ever since the 1960s that actually children from lower socioeconomic backgrounds just don't go to them for different reasons? I mean, the grammar schools only educate about 5% of secondary-aged children anyway, but even among that, children from lower income households simply don't go.
At the moment, they don't, but in the past, they did. We can look at the number of people that went to grammar schools who are now in the media. John Humphreys was a grammar school boy. There are, even Keir Starmer is a grammar school boy. He went to Reigate Grammar and then it became an independent school and he was supported with fees. So many people who are in the public sector and who were not from wealthy backgrounds had opportunities when the grammar school system was in place. I think there is less social opportunity now than there was then.
But your response to that issue is simply to layer another set of selection. It's going to make it more divisive.
Well, selection happens in life anyway. Only
it's
around
not
about
necessarily state-sponsored in the way that you're talking about.
No, but if we stop thinking about the academic route as being of a higher level than a more occupational or vocational route, that's something that, if you go to Germany, for instance, you don't have that distinction. What we try to do is identify around about 30%, 25 to 30% of the population who have more academic skills. Others have other skills which are not necessarily of a lower level. Everybody needs a certain level of academic education, but the problem is there's a focus at the moment in our country on saying you are better than those people because you did this. I don't think that's correct.
Do you really think people are in favour of grammars and are really worried about this? I mean, aren't people just generally worried about the overall state of education, even like the physical estate of schools that children go into? These are more pressing issues, aren't they?
Okay, let's take a scenario. You have an academically able child from a very poor background. They look around their neighbourhood. What opportunity are they going to get to flourish academically in schools that are not really focused on that and perhaps have poor leadership? Why shouldn't those children have an opportunity? I think what we need to look at is, not a full return to a grammar school system. And I admit that a stratified system of grammars, technical highs and secondary moderns. That's not what we're looking for. We don't want to do that. What we need, though, is to make sure that we're serving the population correctly, because if we look at the academic bell curve, we know around about 70% of people are not that academic, but they may have a whole range of other skills and abilities which our economy needs. Around about 25 to 30% are. And I can tell you this from being a teacher for many years, that when we look at children in our classroom, we can identify pretty quickly those who are academically able. We then have to decide.
Even at the age of 10? Really?
Yes. Oh, definitely. No, okay.
Aren't you just writing off people that develop late?
No. Well, I'm not necessarily
and
advocating.
What distinction do you make between boys, girls, and anyone in between in that regard?
Well, one of the things which is interesting about the French system and the German system, I mean, very successful economies, I mean, Germany more so, is Germany make the distinction around about 13, 14. So by then the die is cast. We know roughly where people are headed. And what they do is they have their gymnasia system, and the children will go in the direction of an academic education and the others will go in a vocational technical direction. And if it's felt that what they're into in their educational system is not suiting them and not fully working, they move them. And so there is a system to try and guide people into the right pathway for them. And I think that's what we need to do. We have a real problem in our country with vocational technical education, and we have an overvaluing of university education, which is a real problem. And our economy is unbalanced because of that. I believe it's contributing to the problem.
Is a return to selection likely?
Well, I mean, nobody can tell the future, can they? Depends. In government, I would say there's no massive demand for it. I would say what Stephen's talking about there in the last answer can be done within the comprehensive system rather than moving people between schools. You move people within a school. That's the comprehensive system. It's there. It works. Let's continue it. Furthermore, let me put this to you, Stephen. University of Bristol Centre for Market and Public Organisation found that children growing up in areas with grammar schools face much higher earnings inequality later in life than those growing up in areas without grammar schools. That's research, and that shows that it doesn't do what you say it does.
It doesn't.
Stephen, just in that,
can I just respond to that comment?
Just to add to that, the charge is, if I summarise it, is that grammar schools stoke inequality.
Well, I don't think that's true, because if you look at the current grammar school, the amount of grammar schools, there's 163 in the country. They're in really small pockets and areas, and these areas of sometimes are not areas of depravity at all. They are areas of quite high wealth. For instance, Buckinghamshire will be an example of that. So when you look at the research, it's not giving you the data that you really need, because we don't have a grammar school in every town, and that doesn't. So the data and the research is not telling us the right things. I mean, in the end, if you put rubbish into a research, you get rubbish out. You've got to look at.
This is the University of Bristol.
Calling
them rubbish.
No. But I'm saying if you put data in that's incorrect, then the data that comes out is going to be even more incorrect. They haven't got the data because the grammar schools, there's 163 out of over 2,000 schools. I mean, it's
I put it to you again, in that situation, at a time when we've got a comprehensive system and we've got state-maintained academy schools and so on, aren't grammar schools just an irrelevancy, a throwback to the 1960s, a distraction?
I don't think they are. I think we need a mix of education. We need to create a system that best suits what we have in our country.
Don't we need to resource it, though?
We need to resource it. I mean, we are well resourced in many respects.
Really?
I believe we
Why
we
is
are.
education in such a crisis then? Why are teachers leaving, going on strike? Why is the school estate falling apart?
Well, I mean, there have always been problems, and we are suffering, obviously, a cost of living crisis at the moment, high inflation. That's not that's not being created in the educational system. That's pressures coming from outside. So I could say that there are problems everywhere in the NHS, and also all sorts of areas of public sector provision is going to be affected by that. But I don't think, I do think compared to many, many other countries, we are still doing very well in terms of our educational system. We do educate every child in this country. That's not true in other countries that I've visited. But we do need to improve it, and we need to target our resources. Do we need more resources? Yes. If we have a better economy, yes, we can invest more.